Regular session, Mayor and City Council meeting, 6 p.m., Wednesday, September the 8th, 2021, City Hall Complex. I call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Clerk, will you please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Call to the public. I received one speaker form. Victor J. Valenzuela. State your name and your address for the record on the podium, please. There you go.
Victor J. Valenzuela, 893 Oaxaca Court, Rio Rico, Arizona, 85648. Council members, Mayor.
Yes. How you doing?
So I have an issue that I'd like to discuss with you. I'm here on behalf of my sister, Denise Brinton. Okay? Her husband, the late Jeremy Brinton, who just passed away about 3.5 months ago. Mayor, I'm having issues not only with the lack of action, but the lack of advocacy, both coming from your office and from everybody. 3.5 months later, and we don't have any answers. There's no justice. And I find that really hard to believe. 3.5 months ago, you were sitting in the hospital with my sister, with myself, saying whatever you needed. We've lost holidays, we've lost a lot of things, and I understand this is not your investigation. Believe me, I am aware of that. But I believe that you can help us get some answers. You know? 3.5 months later, Father's Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, all lost without my brother-in-law. And I feel a real lack of advocacy from everybody here. Nobody's asking questions why. Nobody's asking questions after 3.5 months. What really happened? My sister can't get an update from DPS. In fact, they're treating her like she's beneath them for whatever reason. Another part of the issue that I'm having directly with your office is the lack of communication from your HR director, Carmen Fuentes. Why is it that I can't get a hold of her? Why is it that my sister can't get a hold of her? I understand none of you can give me answers right now. I don't expect answers today and not tomorrow, but I expect effort. I can't get a hold of Carmen. My sister can't get a hold of Carmen. There's been no meetings, no communication, nothing. And that speaks volumes to me. Your human resources director doesn't have the sense to even offer my sister condolences. This is a person directly involved with human resources. Not a call, not an update, not anything for 3.5 months. And so I ask you, all of you, is that sufficient? Would it be sufficient if it was your family, your loved one? 18 years is what he gave to you guys. 2 years away from retirement. There's been no advocacy on his part. That's why I'm here. And if you're wondering why I'm here and my sister's not, it's because she's in the process of taking my nieces to Tucson for therapy sessions. Something that they'll probably have to go through a long time. I don't expect answers from you guys today, but I expect effort. More so than anything, I expect communication. We had a ton of outpour of support when everything happened, and I appreciate that from every one of you, from the chief, from a lot of people in this room. But we need that support going forward. We have no answers. We have no justice. We don't even have the name of the person who did this. And that same person had the opportunity to enjoy Father's Day and Independence Day and Labor Day with his family. We, unfortunately, will not have any more days like that. I'm not asking for help. We're getting help. We've gotten help. What I'm asking for is action. for advocacy on the part for Jeremy, for his family. 18 years for you, for all of you. Not in some small job, not as a clerk, not to minimize any of his position, but putting his life on the line. Ultimately, he gave it. 18 years, and for 3.5 months, no communication. How dare you? How dare you not advocate for him? And if none of you know, his organs went to several people. He still saved lives after he passed away. Thank you.
So, Venezuela, let me just explain that. I wish I could say something because we're in call to the public, we can't. But let me tell you one thing that I will do. I wasn't aware of anything, not from my office, because none of this comes to my office. All right? If it would have been in my office, if you would have reached out to me, believe me, I would have done something on behalf of the members of the City Council. I was not aware that Human Resources was not doing anything for you. I was not aware that Police Department was doing anything for you for the investigation, or DPS. Nothing. Okay, so because we're not part of that. That's what they do. Staff, that's what they do.
Sir, before I let you continue, I will say one thing. That's a scapegoat to me, sir. You are the city of Nogales.
No.
You are the elected mayor of the
Yes,
city of
but I'm
Nogales.
not part of
And
the
so,
investigation.
And so I understand that, sir, but I will say that. Again, that's the lack of advocacy. The absolute lack of care that you've shown.
That's the reason we don't answer on call to the public.
So I will continue and let you not answer,
Yeah.
okay? So I will say this, sir. The lack of care, and not just your part, but many people's parts, including your HR director, okay, is what's astounding and shocking to me. The man gave 18 years of his
No, I
life,
understand.
right? 18 years. And after 3.5 months, nobody can reach out and just say, hey, you know what? We're just trying to work on things for you. We apologize. We don't even get that, right? Because after 3.5 months, you've all just moved on. And I don't expect you to stop your lives, because obviously none of us can. But I expect some form of effort. And I haven't seen that. So that's why I'm here.
Oh,
Because there has been no effort. And that's what I'm asking for, is effort.
okay.
From you, from your constituents, from everybody. Because that's what you offered 3.5 months ago when I was sitting in a hospital while my brother was dying.
Yeah.
That's what you offered 2 weeks after that, when you shook my hand, and a long line of procession of people that were shaking my hand. That's what you spoke to when you stood up at the NHS auditorium, when you spoke great things about Jeremy. And all I'm asking you to do is follow through with that, sir. I don't need a rebuttal. I don't even need an answer from you today. I really don't. I know that the system works slowly. Truly, I do. This is a message because I want more effort. And unlike my sister, I'm not willing to get swept under the rug anymore. It's not worth it. I expect justice. I really do.
Victor, I guarantee you this will be on the agenda on this council meeting.
I appreciate
I
it.
can guarantee you that. I'm not comfortable with this. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Is there anybody else in call to the public? Here you go, Mr. Mayor. Make sure you put that on the agenda. Okay, financial monthly report.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. In front of you, you should have your finance packets. It starts with the memo, and then there's also the tables afterwards. So tonight, I'm going to present to you the numbers from July of this year. This being the first month of the year, when you divide the budget evenly over 12 months, we should be right around 8.33% when it comes to our revenues and our expenses. If you look at Table A, which is your general fund, we are sitting at 10% when it comes to our revenue for our general fund. So we're sitting a little high there, which is good for our first month. And we're sitting right at 8% for our expenses. So we will continue, even though it's our biggest fund, they will be watched, but right now we're sitting pretty good for the whole general fund. If you move to Table B, that is our local sales tax. For July, we collected $944,187, which was $105,268 over July of last year. So we're starting out the year on a positive note. If you move on to Table C, that is the breakdown of the departments within the general fund. If you look down the right side, you'll see where quite a few of our departments are below the 8.33%. You'll see some are really close. There are a few that are over, and those are the ones that are highlighted. Those are mainly due to the fact that we have done beginning of the year capital purchases. And we've also done the annual contracts for maintenance and such. So those usually come in the first couple months. You'll see those numbers start to settle down and become normal after the first few months. But we will be monitoring them as we go. Your next table is Table D. That is our HERF and the overweight fees. Our revenue for the HERF part is right at 8%. And the expenses for the HERF are at 4%. For the revenue for the overweight fees, we're actually sitting a little high at 30%, and our expenses are at 15%. So both of those will be monitored over the next few months to watch them kind of level out. The final three tables are the utility funds. So Table E is your sewer. Our revenues for sewer are right at 8%, as is our expenditures. They are also right at 8%. So at this point, there is no concern for the sewer. Your next table, Table F, is the water fund. We have collected about 4% of the 8.33%, and we have paid out about 16%. So this one will be monitored over the next few months for any adjustments and to see how it kind of fares over the next few months. But at this point, there isn't a big concern.
Oh, question on that.
Sure.
What is that debt?
The 702,000?
Yes.
So we had a WIFA loan payment that was made. It is only principal since we haven't used the loan yet, but that is the first payment off of the new loan that started in January. That is why it is so high. That is not a monthly amount. So we're not going to see 702,000 every month. You're welcome. And then your final table is Table G, which is the sanitation. On this one, we're sitting at 8% for our revenue and 5% for our expenses. So there's no big concerns over this one at this point in time. Are there any questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, go ahead.
I know that we talked about this before, but I think it would be nice if we could get this report a couple of days before the meeting.
Yes.
Because we're just skimming through it, we can't ask the correct questions. And this is just a handout, it's not part of the agenda. So we could have this, the Friday before the meeting, even if you put it in our cubbies, or I don't know if you want to send it through by email, but so that we can take a better look at it and review, and then we can make the correct questions.
And you will. From this point forward, you will.
Thank you.
This month, we were working on the audit. The audit has started, and we've tried to throw a lot into that. And last week, I went I have a meeting next week. So that is why this one was late, but I apologize for that. But starting next month, yes, you will have them in plenty of time.
Thank you.
Could you look real quick back at the water table?
Sure. Yes.
So if we quickly look at your water on the revenue side. 8.33 of the budget should be 322,000. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
But we've actually received 373,000.
My calculation does not add up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like we're in the positive. We should be more than 8%.
Yes, we are. And my little note at the top does say where we are over by 51,000. So my calculation right there
There's something wrong on that.
is wrong. So the amount at the top is correct, where we are over by the 51,143.
So
I will correct that.
we're
Absolutely. I apologize for that.
we'll get you all a new
Yes.
schedule. And then we'll closely look at some of those expenditures by departments, look at them closer and review that a little bit.
Yes, if there's any questions, we'll definitely, pull whatever we need to so I can explain it to you.
Mayor, I have a question. It's been, I think, a couple months you've been on board now.
Yes.
And I got the invoices that Mrs. Walker has been sending to invoicing the city. And it totals to $75,253.86 for her services from July 1st, 2020 to July of 2021. I remember when we were doing the budget study sessions, Mr. Bojorquez, if I remember correctly, had asked how long was Mrs. Walker going to be on board. In my opinion, I think you seem to be doing a good job, and thank you. Do you think Ms. Walker should continue to be paid as a consultant for the city of Nogales? She's been here for quite a while now.
Okay. She actually did help me with making sure I did my report right, and then I messed up a number. Apologize for that one. She is currently helping me walk through the audit, not as intensely as she has in the past. It's more of on a at-need basis at this point in time. We spoke quite a lot today concerning the audit, and she's quite happy with where we are going. So at this point, it's nice to have her there at an at-need, in case I need her. And that's what she basically has become. It's not an everyday thing. It is not even once a week thing. It is more at if I have a question or with anything that's coming up, if Mr. Kissinger has a question, she is available to us if we still need her.
I have another question. How long will this go for?
Hopefully not real long. It has been a huge learning curve, and I feel like I've really learned a lot in the 4 months I've been here. And she even mentioned today on the phone how it seems like we're progressing quite well. And I have to admit that the finance department in total has been wonderful. And they have also spent a lot of time learning from her. And so it's really become a very strong department, thanks a lot to Pat Walker.
So I think $75,000 is a lot of money. We're recovering from a pandemic. It's been far too long, I believe. I understand where you're coming from in terms of needing to be, leading the way, helping you, calling her. I get all that, But I wonder if other, directors need that type of consulting too. I understand the finances, keeps the city going. But that's $75,000 that we've spent. And I just wanted to know from you, if you plan to need that type of assistance for long, because I don't know about the rest of you, but that was my money coming out of my pocket. I think $75,000 is a lot that we've paid so far for a consultant.
No, and I understand.
Yeah.
The first 3 quarters of last year, which is the first 3 invoices,
Yeah.
was when she basically had this position. She was the finance director. So then when I came in for that last quarter was when she was walking me through our budget. And then did, of course, the presentations for the council. And then since then, once the budget has passed, it actually has decreased quite a bit. She has let me blossom, I guess I could say. And like I said, we're using her less and less. It's more of an at-call at this point. So most of that was done prior to me. It was when she was in this position.
Well, in fact, there's an invoice dated 9/7 of 2021 where it's a period of, like I said, it's dated here, your invoices that you've given me, where it's $22,000. It's actually more than when you said that she was on her acting finance director. So it's actually more. So I'm concerned. I think that it's time for you to kind of be the director all on your own. I think you're capable.
Thank you.
Okay.
I too feel the same way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. I think you need to start, doing a lot of this work, and we need to get away from Pat, because you've been at it already enough.
Yeah.
And through some hard times.
Yeah.
And I know you say it's a learning lesson, but we did expect that you had some experience when you came on board. So we need to get away from that, please.
Yes.
All right?
Absolutely, sir.
Yes.
Do we have a written contract with Ms. Pat Walker, or is she going to be just billing us on a as per needed basis?
Mr. Kissinger,
Invoices.
can you answer that one?
I'm going to have to try to dig into my memory on that one. I don't have it in front of me, but I do believe we have an engagement letter with her. Is that right, Mike? Do we have an engagement letter with her as a consultant?
Yeah, and that was when she first came on board.
Right.
Okay.
Is that for a certain amount of time, or is that just?
It wasn't. It was as needed. Like most consultants, it was as needed. Oops.
Mr. Mayor,
There was no number attached to that, John.
No, sir.
So, and that's the thing. There's no number attached to that, then we have to accept what is billed to us.
Yes, sir.
Yes. That's why you need to step it up,
Yes, sir.
okay? Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention too, what's kind of disturbing a little bit, because like I said, these are public funds, is that I noticed because she wasn't billing. And so I asked for the invoices, and so she's yet to be paid. From what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Kissinger. So she's yet to be paid the $75,000.
Yes.
So-
And the reason I'm saying this is because I've had the conversation with Mr. Kissinger about this, that how long we were going to keep Pat on board, and I can understand, you've never been with a municipality, but you have been in finances before, and you knew very well the responsibility of being a director for the city, and I know it's not a very easy department or a position to have, and you wanted to take it on, and it was accepted.
Yes.
So being myself at one time in that position as director, I stepped it up and I stayed 3.5 years, almost 4 years as director of public works. But I went in there, worked hard, and proved myself. So we shouldn't have this conversation anymore.
Right.
Okay. Next time that you're doing something, it should be done just by you and your staff You know, I know sometimes, I'm going to say, sometimes you need to pull something, some knowledge from somewhere else, you know, but Mr. Kissinger has a lot of institutional knowledge that he can help you,
Right.
all right? So I think we need to start cutting those wings, okay, please?
Absolutely.
Because you need to, so that we don't have this conversation anymore. Because I was going to bring it up myself, but Councilwoman, she brought it up. I wasn't going to say anything today, but since the conversation came up, we might as well talk about it.
Okay.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Just go ahead.
Would you happen to know, we talked about this a few months ago, about the people that were past due. What is the percentage that we have as a city recovered from the past due from the water department?
Percentage-wise, I'm not sure, but we have had quite a few of our water people that were past due have gone on to contracts, and so they're paying their current bill plus part of their additional. We had shut off water on quite a few. They were in here the next day setting up their contracts and starting to pay. I can get the report from Mr. Suarez tomorrow, and I can let you guys know where we stand compared to where it was in April when they started doing the billing. We've also done the same thing now with the sewer connections in the Valle Verde area. We have sent out letters. There has actually been a pretty good reply. Most of them are going on to contracts where they can pay whatever their monthly is plus an additional. The 20th of this month will be 1 month since we have sent out the letters, and Mr. Massey at that point is when legal steps in if we have not heard from them, so that, you know, liens can be done and such.
You've got a response from that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We've had a few pay in full. Most of them are on contracts.
Good.
Yeah, we've had a very good turnout. It's been very positive. So we've had a few that, no, that person doesn't live here. I do. Let me pay the bill. Okay. So it has been very good.
Okay, that's good. Anything else, Finance?
Quick question.
Go ahead.
On the WIFA loans, the amounts that you pay out are not monthly.
No.
How often do you pay that off? And they're not going to be the same amount. They're going to be different amounts every time?
That's a very good question. I have actually asked for a copy of our WIFA contract because I have not received a WIFA contract yet. So I'm waiting to get that back from WIFA so I know. If we do not use the loan, the only amount we would pay would be whatever the principal part of it is. So that is why at this point we have just simply paid the principal on the new loan. We have not paid any interest. But I'm waiting for that contract at this point. So I know exactly everything we need to know about our WIFA loans.
Okay, so on the $702,000, how many months does that cover of principal?
That is the second question I have sent to WIFA, is to find, it's not a monthly, they have told me that. I know that it came from January when it started, but it was not due until July. So it's at least 6 months worth.
Okay.
But all of that was done before I started, and so I've never gotten a contract, but I have gotten in touch with WIFA to get that information.
Okay, so when you get the information, could you bring it back to Mayor and
Absolutely.
Council? And
Absolutely.
that way we'll know how our debt is going and our
Yes.
payments are going to go in.
Then we'll all know together, yes.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So essentially, Mayor, I have a question.
Go ahead. Councilman.
So essentially what we paid out, it's money, you said principal, but in reality, it's money that we paid out and we haven't really used that loan, right?
Right.
So in reality, is it money that we threw away?
Well, that's a good question. I'm not sure I can answer that question. I know that Juan, I don't know if Juan is on. He may know more about the WIFA than I do. Well, I'm sure he knows more about the WIFA than I do. And even Mr. Kissinger may know more than I do. That is one of the things that I'm educating myself on with WIFA.
So what I suggest, Mr. Mayor, what I suggest is because we weren't prepared for these questions on the financial report, but what I suggest to you that I will get you a complete accounting on the WIFA status, what monies we paid. I know we paid, we paid out I forget the name. What was the name of the law firm that represented us to get the Greenberg for preparing the contract with them, and there's other ancillary costs that go along with a WIFA loan, which is typical with your bonds and stuff like that. But we'll get you an exact accounting for what's been paid out in WIFA and what's anticipated to be paid out, and how we're going to make the bond payment.
And the reason I asked is because the way I understood it with the WIFA loan was that we would only, maybe I misunderstood it, but we're only going to pay off the what we used.
Correct.
So we haven't used any of the WIFA, but yet we already made a payment. So I understand its principle, but it kind of.
I think the councilman's right. It's a credit line, for lack of a better term, up to a certain amount. If you use it, you have 3 years to use it. When you use it, then you start paying down on it. But I do believe that we've had some invoices come our way on WIFA, and that's why we'll let us get that accounting and get that information all ready for you and paid out.
Are we getting some engineering?
Well, I know we've had some engineering costs going up. So
already, I think.
correct.
Engineering costs.
So I'll get that for you, Councilman.
Thank you, John.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Anything else on finance? No? All right.
Mayor, before
Yes.
you go to the reports, I just want to recognize Mr. Marco Flores. He was the one that set up that the flags and all that monument in the front of the wall, and I just want to thank him for that. That was a really good job, good representation for the Nogales veterans.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Marco.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank the city for giving me that opportunity. They allowed me to be there for the whole, 7 days, whole week when we heard the soldiers were dying Thursday last week, and the city was kind enough to allow me to put that up. And it would have, the display has to be removed tonight because they think tomorrow they need to come in and clean up and mow the lawn. But it was a very, very emotional 6 days because of the people that were coming in. They weren't expecting that. There's people coming in, some were crying, some were taking pictures, sending them to their soldier family relatives, and quite a few members of you went down also. And it wasn't really, it was my idea, but it was the combined of the group that we call ourselves as Santa Cruz County Patriots, and we definitely support our law enforcement, military, frontliners, fire department is something that we take it to heart. So your cooperation for this made it all possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marco.
Thank you, Marco.
All right, let's go to reports. Number 5, update on the city annex building. Yeah.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. I'm glad to report that we have had our last conceptual design meeting with the architect. And now we're moving on to the construction, submittal of the construction plans. And I've been informed that we should have those by the end of the year, Mr. Mayor. The complete set of documents to submit to P&Z for approval. That would be the plumbing, the HVAC, the fire protection plan, the structural plans, and electrical plans. So we should get all of those construction documents over to P&Z, get a permit, get a bid out for construction, and those construction documents will come with a cost estimate.
That's when we get the
So
number.
we know how much it's going to cost.
That's going to cost. Okay.
Yes, sir, and my goal is to, with the amount of budget that you all allocated to this, I'm hoping maybe we can get the entire project done,
Good. Let's hope for it.
both floors.
Yes.
I'm hoping for that, but we'll see as those numbers come.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, John.
Yes, sir, Mr.
Go ahead.
So, Mr. Kissinger, Do we have something planned for the beginning of next year, maybe? As far as construction?
Sure. I'm anticipating receiving the construction documents, in other words, the building plans, by the end of the year. With the cost estimate out of those building plans, we will proceed to put out bid documents so we can have construction companies bid on the project and hopefully award the bid beginning early next year, and then hopefully start work on it. But there's a lot of factors that go into that, and I'll give you an example. Our CDBG product up on Noon Street, we've already selected a contractor for it. We've already engaged him and everything. There is no material available for him. So even though he wants to start, he can't start. So I would like to say, Mr. Bojorquez, I guarantee we'll start by January 10th, but it's a moving target, and hopefully that's my goal, is to get it started by next year.
Are you going to do it in phases, and what phase is going to start in?
Sure. Again, it's going to depend on budget. Once I get those construction documents and knowing how much budget I have available to us, my goal is to get all in one phase. One-shot deal. We know that because of council's prior direction, that the second floor and or the courts is the priority, and then we move down to finance. But if it's at all possible with the budget that I've got, we'd like to move forward with both of them at the same time.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Mr. Kissinger, how sure are we that they're going to stick to their contract or their costs? Because as we know, what we spoke, the materials are going through the roof. So, and I think that's been one of the problems, that we haven't received any plans or anything like that. But once we have them, what assurances do we have that they're going to stick to that price?
Sure. So when we get those bid documents back sometime early next year, we'll be bringing together a construction contract that we have our legal go through and make sure that there's any cost overruns or anything like that, or change orders, that usually it's all spelled out in the contract. How does that all shake out at the end of the day? Knock on wood.
I just don't want this project to get away from us, escape from us. As far as money wise, that's my concern. I think maybe we could have enough to finish it all off, but
I think it'd be the wrong thing for Mr. Kissinger to tell you right now.
Yep.
That there's a cost already on there, because it's not going to be there. I can tell you that right now.
all right.
So it's better that we get a document from a contractor or the architect and them, and saying, this is what's going to be, and they'll tell us. If we don't get started by this date, it's going to be this. And they'll extend it. If we sit on it, they'll extend it. They'll extend it until, and it's nothing but going up. Okay, so we have to, when we get it and it's overlooked by Mr. Kissinger and Mr. Massey, I think we need to right away and take action on it if we want that job completed. Because everything's going. Have you visited Home Depot lately?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, don't go next week, okay? Because plywood just went up again. Everything's going up really fast. Is there any other questions on that? Members of the council? Anything? No? Okay, number 6, discussion items. A, discussion, Fiesta Baseball, September 8th. Councilman Maldonado.
Thank you, Mayor. I've been going back and forth with Francisco Gomez from the Mexican Fiesta Baseball. We've been looking at playing on the 22nd between Hermosillo and Obregon, and on the 29th between Navajo and Mexicali. However, his people wanted me to talk to the school district and see if they could do some type of promotion. And I said, I could announce it just like I could do with Little League. But then he threw out, he wanted us to guarantee an amount of attendance, and I told him that I can't do. He wanted me to guarantee between 800 and 1,000 people. He was throwing out a student Little League amount of $5 per game, and then try and get $10 for adults. And I told him, guarantee we can't. There's no way that the city's gonna guarantee any type of monetary amount, and so we're supposed to decide by Friday, and if it's gonna be a go or nay. So I'll keep everybody in touch. If I could do it, because I know tomorrow we have the boys and girls put in for the liquor license. If I could do it talk to him tomorrow before our meeting, and let him know. But that's the plan of those two days, those two games. But I told him I couldn't guarantee an attendance. We could throw it out, announce it, but not guarantee attendance. That's where we stand, Mayor.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Councilman. B, discussion, direction, and possible action naming a park after Officer Britton. Councilman Diaz.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, as I said before, it saddens me to be here talking about this, but what's done is done, and it is what it is. So what I was looking for is naming a park after Officer Brinton in remembrance and memory of his 18 years he gave to the city of Nogales as a police officer and all the people he helped out here in the city of Nogales. He was a very good person. He was a good officer. And I talked to Mr. Kissinger about it. And what we kind of made our minds up as far as a park is naming the one on Meadow Hills, which hasn't been really officially named. It's just called the Meadow Hills Park, and name that after Officer Brinton, if it's okay with the council. It'd be my recommendation to name that park Officer Brinton Park or Jeremy Brinton Park, or whatever council, mayor and council want to do. But that would be my recommendation to name that park after Jeremy.
And I think that would be a good park because it really doesn't have a name of a historic person or anybody else, that could probably be a little controversial, to remove the name of a person.
Right.
But that one does not have a name. It's just Meadow Hills Park.
Right.
But that's a good idea. I support you on that.
Oh, thank you.
So, Mr. Mayor, this particular item has a discussion, direction, or possible action. I don't know if you all want to take some action on it.
Yeah, is there anybody here that has any other idea besides that? Because that's the only one that I know of that doesn't have a...
I talked with Mr. Kissinger about that marker, probably on exit 4. Because we can't name a bridge anymore. I guess the state doesn't allow it. But they do like a little where the accident happened, and it has the name of the officer. Have you continued more on asking if they can do that for us, or?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
So, Mr. Mayor, as requested, I reached out to the Arizona Department of Transportation, and they don't name bridges anymore because of issues with mapping and stuff like that. However, they do put markers out where it's typically you're going to see them where highway patrol officers have lost their lives along the freeway or on the state highway. This is a state freeway. It's not in the control of the city. They're more than willing to put up the marker. They just want it to look different than the one that they typically put up for high patrolmen. because it has a star. So what I've asked is for Mr. Thompson and Chief Bermudez to work together as a team to come with a proposed design for the sign, what they want to put on it, and we can send it off to ADOT. And Mr. Mayor, I'm hoping that ADOT will fund the sign and the installation of the sign. And I think I can get that done. But it has to look different than the ones that they can just pick up the phone and order tomorrow. So I've tasked both Robert and Chief to come up with that design for me.
Well, we could actually do that because of the site, and then, as Mr. Councilman Diaz requested, do the park also.
Yeah, do both.
In remembrance of that, and I don't see any reason why we shouldn't do that.
Do you want to entertain a
Yes,
motion?
yeah.
I'll go ahead and make the
Go ahead.
motion to rename Meadow Hills Park as Brenton Park, or
I'll second that. Okay, is there any discussion, any more discussion on this? No?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Mr. Diaz, have you spoken to the family regarding your idea?
I talked to his son, Justin Brenton, but not his wife or anybody like that.
Okay. Will somebody in the city reach out to the family?
Yeah, we'll have Mr. Kissinger do it.
I think that would
Well,
be prudent and,
I think, Mr. Mayor, I think it would be more appropriate to reach out to them after you all make a decision.
of course.
And then I would also probably like to have the opportunity to get a plaque or something, or, like we
Yes.
replace the one that's out there,
Yes.
maybe, and rename it, and then possibly reach out to the family and have some type of a ceremony where we can invite mayor and council to officially name and dedicate the plaque,
Yes.
the park.
Very good.
I just don't want to just tell them we're going to do it. I'd rather show them that we're actually
Do the
doing it.
process. Yes, go through the process.
Yeah, I understand that part. I just want to make sure there's no miscommunication and we keep the family.
I'll make
abreast of
sure
what we're planning to do.
that, depending on your vote tonight,
Of course.
I'll have,
Okay.
I'll let them know first thing tomorrow morning.
Okay. With that motion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, Mr. Kissinger.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes.
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you very
Diaz.
much.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you very much.
And we'll go and take care of that sign also on the site, John? On the same motion? Yes. All right, thank you. All right, C, discussion, direction, and possible action, COVID-19 Delta variant mask recommendation, city buildings. Mr. Kissinger, you requested this.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to inform Mayor and Council that I made the decision to go to a recommendation of face covering while within the city buildings. I made this recommendation based on some actions taken by Santa Cruz County and the Health Department. I take my lead from them. The county has gone to a mandatory face covering in county buildings. I didn't go there. I went to a strong recommendation. I think with our employees, at least what I have seen, we've had pretty good cooperation and compliance with the face coverings. And I just bring this item for discussion and for potential possible action if mayor and council would like to entertain anything different than what I've already put out. I have shared a copy of the memorandum that I sent to all of our employees on August 19th.
Mr. Kissinger, I'll accept a recommendation. I will not accept a requirement, okay? The city of Nogales and the county, we have the highest vaccination rate in the whole United States. We're doing very well when it comes to cases also and hospitalizations. And I think, since we had the mandate in the city for one of the very first cities in the whole state of Arizona, and our numbers came down, And then after that, the vaccinations came in, and we proved to everybody that we were willing and that we went after vaccinations for everybody. And we did very good in that. And we still have some more people that need to get vaccinated. I think we've proven ourselves. But use the word recommend, not required, okay? Because I don't think we should force it upon anybody. But it is recommended, and that's why I'm worrying it right now, because we said that we wanted to be in close quarters, and we're in close quarters. But besides that, hoping that everybody in this room is vaccinated. You never know. Sometimes you're going to be in a room where people are not vaccinated, and so you should be wearing a mask just in case. But yes, I'll go with a recommendation, and just so the members of the council know that that's how I feel, but
Mr. Mayor,
not a full requirement or mandate. Yes.
is that, Mr. Kissinger, is that going to be for employees or is that for the public also?
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Currently, we asked all of our employees, we're recommending all of our employees wear a face covering while they're in the building, or if they can't be in their office by themselves. And we're also asking the general public as they enter into the building to also use a face mask. We've put out signs in front of the entrance of all of our buildings requesting them to wear face masks, especially if they're not fully vaccinated.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you read my mind. So just to be clear on the same page, Mr. Kissinger, so you are requiring for people to use their face masks in all city buildings, and how about city events that are sponsored by the city of Nogales, for example, the events that are coming up?
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Thank you for that question. No, I'm not requiring anybody to wear a mask. I've only put out a memorandum of August 19th that recommends that all of our employees wear a mask if they're in close proximity, they can't keep a social distancing, but there is absolutely no requirement at this time. I bring it to Mayor and Council for your consideration. If you would like to do something a little bit more stricter or a little bit more less lenient, I bring it to you for your direction to give to staff on what to do. On August 19th was between two meetings. I was following the lead of the county, and that's what I did the same date. I got the call from the county manager. I asked her, make sure you let me know if you change anything. She did. I immediately put this out for the protection of the general public and for our employees. And then at the very first meeting, which is tonight, I bring it for your discussion, direction, and possible action. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I didn't turn on my mic.
I recommend you do that.
So, Mr. Kissinger, the second part of my question is, so you're just recommending that people wear a face covering in city events, city-sponsor events. So that is your recommendation.
My recommendation was only for
events out in the parks that are owned by the city.
I'm sorry, it was only for inside buildings, city buildings.
So you're not making a recommendation for city-sponsored events?
Ma'am, I did not make a recommendation for any. I didn't consider anything outside of the buildings.
Okay.
I was following the lead of the Santa Cruz County that put in a mandatory mask within county buildings. I didn't consider recommending to our employees to make sure they wear masks outside of the city buildings.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Go ahead, Councilman.
John, I think the recommendation is good, and I think, it's for the safety of our employees, because especially, we're not checking vaccination, we're not checking, temperatures no more, but basically we're open to whoever comes in. And I think the safety of our employees is very important to consider the recommendation that everybody, I would say actually, people that come in besides our employees, it is a choice of our employees if they want to wear a mask, but they don't have a choice of who comes in and who doesn't. So I think, the recommendation can be for our employees to wear the mask, but I think it should be a mandatory that whoever comes into city buildings must wear a mask for the protection of our employees.
I have something to say, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
I don't think that we should, I think that we should recommend our employees, like Councilman Maldonado just pointed out, we don't know who comes in and if they're fully vaccinated. With that said, I don't want to impose any type of mandate on the citizens of Nogales. I think that trust is the word I'm looking for. We can't vet everyone if they're fully vaccinated or not. We can certainly take precautions on our end as far as our employees, but to sort of make everyone that comes in pay the water bill and stuff like that, I don't think we should do that. Yeah, we can recommend.
It's key, not
Yeah.
required.
Yeah, I like the word recommend instead of required.
I don't know if you guys noticed that for about 3 weeks, Safeway employees were not wearing a mask, and Home Depot employees were not wearing masks. And I was looking at them because I was going to the store and I would wear a mask. And then one day I saw all of them wearing a mask. And I asked one of the managers, I said, what's going on? He said, we got a directive from corporate that is recommended, not required, recommended to wear a mask. So now they're doing it too. Because it didn't look right for the cashier not have a mask and people coming in. And there's a lot of people going into the stores without a mask. But that's their own thing. And I don't think we should be requiring it anymore. I think we need to start opening up the state of Arizona. But recommending is one thing, requiring is another thing. I don't go for requirements. And not anymore. Not at the high 90s percentage of vaccinations in the city of Nogales. We're doing very well compared to the rest of the country. So, vaccinations to me is more important than anything right now. And I think, I hope we could get to 100% soon. But I'll support Mr. Kissinger's recommendation, but not a requirement. I don't support a requirement. Is there anything else before we move on?
Mr. Mayor, I can report to you, at least here at City Hall, Mr. Maldonado, that the vast majority of people that come into our building are wearing a mask. And Gene, you can probably attest to that, the people coming up to our window.
I've seen people.
Most of them are wearing
Almost
masks.
everybody's standing there with a mask.
But we're not making anybody, there's people walk in also that aren't wearing a mask. But we're not making or refusing anybody entrance because they're not have face covering.
Okay, so, Mr. Kissinger, do you want us to vote on this, sir? Since you already sent out the memo to all the employees?
Like I said, Mr. Mayor,
For the public.
I made a recommendation to our employees. I believe that our employees, on the most part, are taking the proper precautions.
Yes.
I bring this to you for your consideration. I have no recommendation for you on which way to go. I stand by my memo. If you want to change it or anything, I leave that up to you, Mr. Mayor.
You've already sent the memo to the employees, and they're all following the memo. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
Do you need a vote on this?
I don't need a vote on it, sir.
Let's move on. Number 7, events. There's an event, FOP Officers Memorial Camp Park, September 29, 2021 at 10 a.m. Who's going to be speaking about this?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. This is the event that the FOPs wants to do for the officer memorial. Every year, there's an officer memorial for the officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty, and they read out their names. This event this year is typically held out at the county, and
Let me just go in here.
Thompson's going to do the presentation for me on this. Oh, you're going to get the feedback? So you don't have a presentation on this? Oh, okay. So the one who you threw me a curve there. If you go to calendar. So, Mr. Mayor, if I can continue, I tasked, I saw Robert jumped up and I thought maybe you coordinated with the chief, but I guess you didn't. So I tasked Chief Bermudez to work closely with the FOP to put this event on. And Chief, can you give us an update on where you're at on that, please? Yes, sir. Oh, I think the chief's injured.
Kissinger, County Council. I'm working with Renee Travers and with Estia Lopez. As a matter of fact, I talked to both of them today. So we're coordinating, and it's going to be in front of Terrence Park. We're going to close the street off for a couple of hours. The city is going to help with chairs, canopy, sound system, podium. So that was coordinated through Renee a couple of hours ago, actually. And coordinating for other things to be able to helping Hershey out to put this ceremony together. But it's going along.
Thank you.
It's going along. I think we're just putting finishing touches on it. It's going to be, it's going to be a really good ceremony.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think all of you received an invite to this, a hard copy invite in your mailbox. I'm pretty sure everybody did. Maybe you didn't. I see some yes, some no.
Yes.
Okay.
My understanding is they're going to have food afterwards for the people that.
Right.
And
I'm preparing a proclamation, Chief.
that's the reminder that Richard told me. Tell the mayor that about the proclamation.
Yes, I'm preparing that.
So everything's on track to for the 29th, the day after
Yes.
the state of the city.
Yes, sir.
That's our update, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, all right. Thank you, Chief. Before we move to orders, I have a proclamation I'm going to read. This for Gear Up. Whereas gaining early awareness and readiness for undergraduate programs, Gear Up is a federally funded competitive grant program designed to increase the number of low-income students who are prepared to enter and succeed in post-secondary education, whereas Gear Up serves low-income, minority, and disadvantaged students and their families from underserved communities who might be the first person in their family to go to college, and whereas Gear Up provides 6 or 7-year grants to states or partnerships to deliver support and resources to students and their families, starting no later than the 7th grade, which is middle school, through high school and onward to fulfill their dreams of attending a post-secondary education. And whereas Gear Up includes interventions such as tutoring, mentoring, rigorous academic preparation, financial education, and college scholarships to improve access to higher education for low-income, minority, and disadvantaged first-generation students and their families. And whereas Gear Up is built around public-private partnerships enlisting the formidable resources of government, business, and community groups to support low-income students as they prepare to enter and succeed in college. And whereas the CCREO Gear Up program is a partnership of all school districts in Santa Cruz County, Arizona, and whereas CCREO Gear Up serves approximately 900 in ninth grade and will continue to serve this cohort until 2025. And whereas the week of September 21st, 2021 has been declared National Gear Up Week, and whereas the city of Nogales, Arizona is committed to provide a quality education for all students, helping them to achieve their highest potential. Now, therefore, I, Artur R. Garino, Mayor of the City of Nogales, do hereby proclaim the week of September 21st as National Gear Up Week. Páselo al de ti, por favor. Okay, A, consideration possible action of order 2021-09-048, an order of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, authorizing the purchase of 4 2022 Police Interceptor utility AWD vehicles from Santan Ford Fleet in Gilbert, Arizona, for the total amount of $241,491.22 MPD.
So move. Second.
Discussion. Go ahead.
John, are these the vehicles that are going to be requiring that chip that's not going to be available for a couple of years?
No, sir. In my understanding, these vehicles are ready. I have not heard from the police department any delays in receiving these vehicles. Not like others, but no, they should be ready to go, right, Chief? My understanding.
Once we order these vehicles are not like unallowed vehicles, so they should be ready for delivery by February, because they still need to build them.
Oh.
So it's not like they have them all in lot waiting for it to be purchased. But, I mean, we should get over this chip because it should, but plus they're Ford. Like, the chip issue was with General Motors. So we should be okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Go ahead.
Why are we purchasing them? I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. Here in Nogales, we're going outside of Nogales to purchase these vehicles.
Because Santan is
Chief,
under state contract?
Is that a contract?
Santan is under state contract,
Oh, okay.
so we're
Okay.
going with whoever has that state contract that particular year.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Quick question for the
Go
chief.
ahead.
Chief, on the Stone Garden Grant vehicles, those Ford pickups, when are you going to receive them in October, or do you have any word on that?
My understanding is that we should be a couple of months away from receiving those 5 trucks.
So in October?
Yes, somewhere hopefully soon.
There's 5, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right.
Don't hold me on October, but yes.
Okay.
Soon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
There's a lot of quotes for October, Chief. Only yours, but, all right.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, go ahead.
on item B, would like,
Yeah, let's vote. Let's vote on this one.
oh, you're voting, oh, you haven't voted on this
We
one.
haven't
I'm
voted
sorry.
on this.
I thought you already voted on
Don't
it. I'm
get
sorry.
ahead of me, Joe.
Getting ahead of you, sir.
All right, I did have a first and a second.
Yes, we
Okay,
did.
Okay. See, now you confused me, John. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item B, we're going to be removing it until we get some more information. We'll be bringing that back later on.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
C, consideration and possible action of order 2021-09-050, an order of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, authorizing purchase of 1 pneumatic tire compactor for the street department for the total amount of $107,412.48.
So moved, Mayor.
Second?
Thank you very much. Discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, go ahead.
I put in front of you a new quote for this. It's actually $5,000 more, so I think it's coming out to $117,000 and change. That was due to the Caterpillar's mid-year 4.5% increase that we weren't aware of when we put together the budget on this. We spoke with our finance director and Mr. Guerra. We see no problem on funding that additional $5,000 budget adjustment out of another capital item.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bonilla, see how fast it goes up? And we were talking about it 5 minutes ago. Yes, Councilman, go ahead.
I know that there's a 5-year warranty on this item. What about the regular maintenance? Is the city going to keep up the maintenance on this equipment? And do we have like some kind of maintenance agreement?
My mic, oh, there it goes. I'm not sure. Juan, did you look into the maintenance agreement on this? Mr. Guerra?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. I don't know about that. I will need to ask Alfonso if he has any plan for maintenance agreement with this company. Normally, we do maintenance to the equipment in-house, but I'm not aware of any external maintenance. Unless there is a major repair, we send the equipment outside.
I know in the past, Councilman, on our tractors and our backhoes and our equipment, we do it with our in-house staff. Unless it's something major, then we'll ship it off back to
due to the unique
Caterpillar.
circumstances of this type of equipment. Do we have another one in place right now at the city?
Do we have another?
Pneumatic?
Do we have another
pneumatic?
one?
Yes, we do.
Another equipment like the same that we're purchasing?
Yeah.
Do we currently have one?
No, we don't have any type of this. We have other kinds, but this is a compactor that we did for the paving project to achieve a better compaction of the base.
Mayor?
Yes.
I think I got a más o menos answer. This equipment has a 5-year, 2,000-hour powertrain and hydraulics warranty. Empire will provide warranty coverage on all major powertrain and hydraulic components, 100% parts and labor for 60 months or 2,000 hours, whichever occurs first. So hopefully, Mr. Guerra, you'll get those 2,000 hours before the 5 years. Or so because it's 100% covered. So for 5 years or 2,000 hours. So as soon as you get it, put it to work. Yeah, get your money out of it. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
D, consideration possible action of order 2021-09-051, order of the Council of the City of Nogales modifying the terms of the lease with Child Parent Centers Incorporated and license with Eastern Arizona Community Action Program, Inc. John?
Mr. Mayor,
We want a motion first?
So moved, Mayor.
Okay.
Second.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Massey. Okay, discussion. John?
you ready, Mr. Mr. Mayor, as you all recall, we just recently entered into a license agreement with CCAP. I personally went down and met with the people from CCAP and also their neighbors over at the Head Start. We walked through the building. As we walked through the building and assessed CCAP's use of the building, it was determined that the large classroom, as you first walk in, if you guys are familiar with it, to the left was more space than CCAP would need. However, it is space that Head Start could use. So we met with the people from CCAP and with people from Head Start, and we came to an agreement that it would be better used for Head Start, except it wasn't in their lease. So I'm asking to amend the lease to redraw the map because it's a shared building, and I've attached the map as Exhibit B, and that will be the new map for the lease agreement and the license agreement. I also modified the CCAP, and this was an error. I overlooked this when I brought the license agreement to you. It had a provision for them to pay a portion of the utility bill, except the problem with the neighborhood center and surrounding buildings there's only one service, so I don't know, and it'd be almost impossible to split up the bill. And I can tell you that we've always paid the bill, the electrical bill there, so I bring that modification just to remove that section of the CCAP license agreement, to remove their responsibility for paying that utility, sir.
We should continue that way.
Yes, sir, and then some staff recommends that we pass the modification to the license and to the lease agreement.
Yeah, perfect. Good job, John.
And we have
yes,
Mrs. Rosas here in case you have any, if you need some questions on the use.
She doesn't want to get up.
She told me she didn't want to get up.
I'm just joking. The thing is that for the child parent centers, there's no additional cost to them for no reason. Besides, with this new lease agreement with what they have already.
Absolutely not. Nothing. There's no increase in anything. The only change is it gives them more space, more usable space for classrooms. And that's it for the Head Start. For CCAP, it's the same thing. They don't get that space, which they're okay with, and they don't have to. It's not in the lease about paying the utilities, even though it was in the license agreement. There was no way we could charge them anyway.
I'm glad.
We cleaned that up.
Yeah, I'm glad this is being done, and that building wasn't used for the longest time, and I'm glad that the previous people that were using it decided not to use it, and it's going to be used for good use. Mm-hmm. And the two organizations that are using it, perfect for the community.
I think we're going to have a good partnership out there, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much on that, John. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, E, consideration possible action of order 2021-09-052, an order of the City Council of Nogales approving a professional service contract with Kimberly Horn and Associates for the design of water and wastewater improvement projects.
So moved, Mayor.
Okay, discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead, John.
The next three items are very similar. These are all the WIFA projects. We understand that there's an urgency to get these projects done. That's why we split them up between engineering firms to get them done. The good news is that I gave you all a spreadsheet on this.
Yes.
The good news is that the engineering quotes or costs came in under budget. So that's a good news. The bad news is construction is probably going to cost more, but hopefully it won't. So at the end of their services, and this is the next three, we anticipate having plans to do these projects submitted to ADQ for approval, and then we'll take them out immediately for bids and bring back to you awarded bid contracts and move forward as quickly as possible on this. I can tell you, Mr. Mayor, after hearing a lot of concerns, I've asked Alejandro, which I apologize couldn't be with us tonight because his mother-in-law had an accident and he had to go help with her. that we've asked Kimberly Horn, to move expeditiously on the Royal Road design plan so we can get that one as quick as possible.
Good. Good job, John.
So that's my spiel on the next three.
Okay.
But I'm willing to answer any
We
questions.
should vote for it separately because they all have different
Absolutely.
contexts.
I just talked about all three of them.
Yeah.
I have just one question for Mr. Kissinger. How long does it take to get anything back from ADQ, get them approved? What's exactly?
They're very good friends with the city of Nogales. De veras, nos quieren mucho.
Hopefully quick. I don't.
With Ray Morgan, but I don't think he's there anymore.
Yeah.
No? No. Well, we'll work at it. We'll work at it. All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Let's go to F. Consideration and possible action of order 2021-09-053. An order of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, approving a professional service contract with Rick Engineering for the design of water and wastewater improvement projects.
So move, Mayor.
Second, it's the same spiel that Mr. Kissinger is going to do, but it just has a different name, Rick Engineering. So, is there any discussion? No change? No nothing? No? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. G, consideration possible action of order 2021-09-054. An order of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, approving a professional services contract with Wilson and Company for the design of water and wastewater improvement projects.
So move, Mayor.
Do I have a second? All right, thank you very much. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. H, consideration possible action of order 2021-09-055, an order of the Council of Nogales, Arizona, authorizing the city manager to transfer budget authority from the general contingency fund in the amount of $15,000 to the city manager's department budget for payment to CPS Recruiting performing the city manager's search.
So move, Mayor.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Mr. Kissinger.
Mr. Mayor, as council, and the reason I typically probably wouldn't bring this to council, but since CPS recruiting firm is working directly for the council, I wanted to make sure I brought it to you. She quoted us a price of $35,000 to conduct this search for you and do the services she's given you. We budgeted $20,000 in this year's budget, and we had $15,000 budgeted in last year's budget, but unfortunately this consultant didn't send us an invoice until now. So she didn't invoice us for last year. So we owe her for the service of $35,000. That's why staff is asking that we take the unspent money in last year's budget of $15,000 and apply it to this year's budget of $15,000.
All right. Thank you very much, John. Okay, go ahead.
John, is there going to be additional invoices for, during the interviews, and if they have to fly in people for the interviews? Is there going to be additional cost to this besides the $35,000?
Sure. I believe that we addressed that the last time that she was in front of mayor and council, and somebody asked that question: is there an additional cost if they fly out or hotel stuff like that? And she indicated yes, it's not included in this 35. So I think that's a great discussion that you might want to have with Christian Navarro tomorrow during your meeting on how that might work out.
And if we do have extra cost, do we have something, a line item where we can find those funds?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We do have a line item.
All right, thank you.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Number 9, Mayor and Council report on current events. Let me start with, I'll start it up. On August the 3rd, political interview regarding vaccination efforts. August the 4th, meeting with Circles of Peace. August the 8th, phone meeting with Representative Daniel Hernandez regarding continued border restrictions. August the 10th, News 12 interview regarding small increase in number of COVID cases. August 11th, autism conference update and received a certificate for that. August the 12th, Telemundo interview regarding high vaccination rates and kids going back to school. Same date, meeting with Dean Jones at the U of A regarding restoration of Governor Castro's house on Crawford. On the same date, annexation progress meeting. August the 16th, meeting with a local artist regarding potential art project. Same date, meeting with Chicanos por la Causa. August the 23rd, a Walter Cronkite interview regarding border travel restrictions extension. August the 24th, meet and greet with Consul Victor Manuel Jimenez. August 25th, city manager update meeting. Same date, Nogales IOI meeting. Same date, News Nation interview regarding border closure extension. Vice Mayor, you're next.
Okay, we are still working for the Fiestas Patrias event. It's almost there. The Consulado is taking care of lots of the music, the folklore, and all that. The city already has a list of all the things that we are going to be including. Also, we're also at the same time working with the Dia de los Muertos event. We're almost half there, and we're doing just great also. I attended the League of Cities and Towns. First of all, I want to say thank you for all the hard work they did with the stand. It was the best. Really, I went all over all the stands, and ours was the best. I'm sorry, but it was the best. I attended 4 of the sessions. It was transportation, the recycling, the helping small business communities, and the border. None of them had good news. They have really no answers because on the recycling, China is doing nothing, so the recycling is on standby. Helping small communities, they're sending small business to deal with a bank. That means on top of you doing nothing, no business at all, now you have to ask for a loan and then pay interest on something that you don't know if it's going to work. And then on the border, maybe next year, if we're lucky, they'll reopen the borders. So none of them had good news. But it was interesting anyway. And it was the best weekend we had together. And we hope we do it again.
So,
that's it.
Councilman Diaz.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to echo Vice Mayor Lopez Melendez's thoughts on the Leagues of Cities and Towns. I did a lot of networking up there, went out to the breakout sessions, but like she says, don't hold your breath, right? But I did talk to State Representative Daniel Hernandez, State Representative De Alessandro, a staffer from Kristen Sinema's office, a staffer from Mark Kelly's office, and Glenn Williamson from Canada. He's a State of Arizona consul for Canadian Affairs in the state of Arizona. And basically, the talk was, please talk to Washington and help us open the border. We depend on the economy, our local economies, to get working, to go back and forth, because everybody that's up there is from up north. They're not on border communities. The border communities are right on the border. We have the immediate problem in all border communities, not just Nogales. We talked with people from Yuma, from Douglas, San Luis, and we're all, we all need this traffic from Mexico to come in. So that was my big talk up there. And you start talking about the border, and all these representatives want to walk away from you, but hey, you got to stay here and talk to us. So, but that was the main point that we talked about, is trying to get economic development moving, flowing back and forth. So, and that's all I got for right now. Thank you.
Councilman?
Thank you, Mayor. And again, I concur with both Vice Mayor and Councilman Mr. Diaz on the League of Cities and Towns. It was a great turnout. I think we represented Nogales in a good way, very good way. I think people ask obviously about the border, and one good thing that we did get achieved through help Jaime Chamberlain and I had been going back and forth through the port authorities trying to get the Mariposa port back to regular hours, which is 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. And luckily, as of September 1st, they finally did it, and it is a big help. Unfortunately, there is not a lot of traffic, but there's people that, especially schooling and that come here to work, that live in Nogales, Sonora, have called me and thanked me for letting them know that it's open. And there's still a lot of people. It's weird. You look at, the Imparcial cameras at 7:30 in the morning and 7 in the morning, and still the City port has a good amount of cars, and the Mariposa's hardly any. I think the word needs to get out that the port is back to regular hours, because it is it helps those that are coming to work, and others that have to cross late after 8 o'clock on regular days. It does help. So I think that's something good that we just got. Hopefully, the next step is open it completely for everybody. The other thing, Little League started yesterday. We went back to fall ball. Kids are, I umpired 2 games yesterday, and it was great having the kids out playing again. Unfortunately, they're not used to it. Parents aren't used to it. There's also, other sports that kids come out and play, and but it's fun ball. It's training and development, and we have kids, not showing up, so they just do whatever they can to make it work. But the kids, everybody at Little League Park yesterday was just very happy to be out there. Very happy to have the kids running around. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Bonilla.
Well, I also attended the Arizona League of Towns and Cities. It was great for me because it was the first time I went. Yes, it is true that most of these seminars were kind of, disappointing in the sense that, but with that said, being the first timer that I went, I did get to network with some people, different council members from different cities. And what I liked about this is that you sort of get a feel of a different perspective from different cities. So one of the biggest things that was, that from border towns was that, hey, we need to stop competing. If we're going to get back our economy, we sort of have to figure out a way how to work together, even though we're in different cities and our port of entries are different. Let's just try to come up with a solution instead of competing, with one another. And that's what I like, because we sat down and we kidded around. You were there, Councilwoman Menendez, with the people from Douglas, and and just getting a feedback from them and them asking me questions on how we dealt with certain problems, and I asked them also what problems that they had. We realized that if we put our minds together, maybe we can find light at the end of the tunnel. Instead of just trying to work us alone, we can network with other cities and try to find a solution. And that's all. I'm also working with the September 18th event with the stage and sound system. I have a meeting tonight with Mr. Delgado, and that's all.
Thank you. Councilman Bojorquez.
Yes, on August 19th, I attended a Cities and Town League event that they had in Sahuarita, and they were just going through some House bills and Senate bills, just to what's pending and it's what's passed. The only thing that caught my eye was the state share revenue will increase from 13% to 18%. So that won't happen till about 2 more years, like in 2023. Mr. Massey was there, Mr. Kissinger and Mr. Bonilla were there also. And all the other items they were just housekeeping, and nothing that really interested the Nogales community. I also attended the Arizona Cities and Town League, and like Councilman Diaz says, there's a lot of information there, but nothing that really helps our situation, because not only our situation, but all border communities. We depend only on sales tax. Chandler and all those communities up north, they have big companies coming in there, and they got revenues coming all over from everywhere, and we don't have that. But we did share a lot of information, and it's good that we did that because we were thinking for the future. I know that right now we can't do anything. I went to one of the workshops how to help the local merchants, small businesses. There was nothing that really no information for us to help them. We're talking about things that were happening in Chandler, Scottsdale, and all those places, which are good, because their economy is doing great. But they don't depend on the retail, and they don't depend on the border closings and things like that. I did share a lot of information with other council people from other cities, and I want to agree with Councilwoman Melendez-Lopez. I think at least we were one of the top 3 on the event there, on the displays. I think if not number 1, we're on the top 3, and it's true, but I think the first 3 were all border communities that had the best display, the more festivities.
Más ruido. Yeah, I know. So it was good.
So I think it was a good event, and expecting for next year to be better.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Council member?
I just have a real quick one. I attended let me make sure I do this right, the Nogales Fire Department had a ceremony on Friday, and it was really nice to see some previous students there. And what a great job Chief and his people did. It was a recruitment class or ceremony. So it was really nice to see the effort that these kids, for me, they're kids, put out. So congratulations to the fire chief, and the union was there, and all the other folks were there. It was a great ceremony. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Before I move on, I just want to make sure that everybody knows that we're having the Nogales Night Out event, which is that's tomorrow. And on Saturday at 10 in the morning, the 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony. I hope you can all attend, and everybody that's seeing us right now on YouTube, please attend, especially the Nogales Night Out. Take your kids. It's going to be a fun day. We have bicycles. We have a lot of giveaways that we're going to be doing, and And we'll have law enforcement, fire department, hot dogs and everything so that kids can have a good time. And then on Saturday, remember, it's 20 years now. 20 years since what happened in the towers in New York, and it seems like it was just yesterday. So please attend that. It's going to be a very good ceremony, and we'll also be remembering the 13 servicemen that recently lost their lives. So with that, I go to future agenda items. Anybody? Go ahead.
If we can have an update on the old Tucson Road, because, I've been thinking that, we're going to have to start moving on annexation pretty soon. But, we need to fix that road before we start going and talking to the people in Chula Vista. Because, otherwise, they won't believe in what we're trying to do with annexation. Okay. So if I can have an update on that. I know that we did have a quote for $600-some thousand to fix that, but that was about maybe 3-4 months ago. So I want to see what's going on with that.
Got it, John?
Got it, sir.
All right. Anything else? Go ahead.
Update on the Achea Park, on everything that was going to happen back there.
Yeah.
Because I know we changed director, so so you could give us an update.
I think really there's no update on it, but you can get it. John can give you.
I know that Ms. Travers has been dying to get up at that podium to give you that. So I know she's hearing me now, so she'll have an update ready for you at next meeting.
Oh boy!
Great, thank you.
Yes, Councilman.
Mayor, I just, before the night's over, I just want to thank our sponsors that gave us the tomatoes and the mangoes, Kelly Roy Produce that donated the tomatoes for the conference, and Cerulli Brothers that donated the mangoes. I think it really shows what support we get from the produce industry to the city. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't know, Mr. Kissinger, if you've given a report on the status of the dog park. People have asked me about the status of that. If not, then you could put it on the agenda, future item. And then also annexation, just an update on annexation, where we're at with that, talking about annexation.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. With that, a motion to. Yes, go ahead.
Just want to remind the council that we have a meeting tomorrow, 10 a.m. It'll probably go to about 3:15 in the afternoon. There'll be a 1-hour lunch break, so you can plan accordingly. And also, we want to inform you that the housing director has informed me that he does not anticipate having a meeting next week, so you can plan accordingly. And those are the only, as far as meeting updates that I have for you.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much. And we'll see you all tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Now is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.